Victoria sat at her desk, frozen in thought. A single candle illuminated her pale face, while the rest of the house was engulfed in silent darkness. Tears glistened from the pages of her diary as she languished over the day's events. Murmurs from the walls echoed throughout her room. "These walls," she whispered as her eyes skipped across the decadent wallpaper. She hated these walls. They knew too much. They knew her secrets. Oh, how Victoria hated these walls. Her eyes came to rest upon the mahogany-framed bed. The floral brocade coverlet was still untouched, velour pillows neatly displayed against it. I should try to sleep, Victoria thought, but the outcome would be the same. She would toss and turn until morning's light slithered its callous rays upon her face. Sleep was a foreign indulgence to her, and rest had eluded her for a very long time. She could hear laughter all around her, familiar laughter, yet it held no comfort. "Please stop," she whispered, but the walls would not cease. The echoing of laughter suffocated the room, and she wrote. Her hands moved fiercely across the dampened pages. "Please, stop," Victoria whispered again, but the laughter only continued to rise. "Why can't anyone hear this?" And she wrote. The words poured out of her soul uncontrollably. With every tear that fell, so did the words. And she wrote, trying her hardest to drown out the laughter, but the laughter would not cease. Why did I think tonight would be any different? What is wrong with me? These thoughts played over in Victoria's mind, and like the walls of her room, they tormented her. No one understands. No one wants to understand. The voices mocked, reminding her that she was truly alone. Nothing is going to change. This world can do nothing for you, the voices echoed. This is your life. Life. It seemed like every breath was a constant labor. The heaviness in her chest was the evidence of this. Was she in mourning? If so, for what? The life she yearned, or the life she wanted to be rid of? The worn quail fell from her hand. She did not bother to pick it up. Her head sank onto the pages, her hands forming fists of frustration. Her body shook as cries escaped from her mouth. Muffled by the diary, they were but whimpers upon written words. And once again she could not stop them from coming. Do it, she heard in her mind. Victoria took a deep breath, and for a moment she allowed contemplation to speak to her. The moment quickly passed. I can't, she cried. I can't. The candle flickered out, and the room was blanketed in the night. Victoria lifted herself from the chair and walked to the window. Wiping tears from her eyes, she gazed out at the moonlight and was comforted by its beauty. It seemed to make the darkness less frightening. She felt as if the moon was saying, darkness is not as strong as it feels. And finally the tears ceased. Lowering her gaze to the trees below, she noticed something out of place. A figure of a person. Was someone there? She strained her eyes to make out what it was, but in a breath, it was gone. An uneasy feeling crept over Victoria, and she could not shake the feeling that someone or something had been watching her. Now I'm seeing things, Victoria sighed. Turning away from the window, she made her way to her bed. Not bothering to change into her nightdress, she curled her body under the blankets and hoped her thoughts would quiet, not noticing that the tears were once again flowing.